Do you know James Clear? You ever heard of this guy? He's a pretty smart dude. He made this book, Atomic Habits, a couple years ago, and he did this speech. It was very impactful to me. May not be impactful to you. Maybe you think it stinks. Maybe I should get going and you think about it.
It's just kind of basic math. Like if you just look at the numbers, if you were able to improve by 1% each day for an entire year, and those gains compound, you would end up 37 times better at the end of the year.
So this is what doing Atomic Habits can do for you. Now, when you think atom, what do you think? You think small? Or do you think big boom, like scientific? Funny enough, my podcast co-host and I had the opposite opinion on what it meant. And when we did a review of this book a year ago for our podcast, we both realized that it means both things. And this is a perfect example. If you do something every single day, like if you do a couple push-ups every single day, you'll have a much more defined chest in a year because you're going to be improving a fraction of a percent every day or percent every day. And then eventually you will get to being 37 times better.
And if you were to get 1% worse, you would whittle yourself almost all the way down to zero. What's interesting here is that everybody wants a transformation, right? Everybody wants a radical improvement, we want rapid success. But we fail to realize that small habits and little choices are transforming us every day already. For the rest of this talk, there are 4 stages of habit formation. I'm going to take you through each of those 4. So the 4 stages are noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. Noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. One of my favorite things about noticing,
He also clarifies this in the book and calls it cue, craving, response, reward. But I like that he changed the way that he articulates it here because it's a different way of talking to people in the audience.
Strategies for discussing it. It's called implementation intentions. Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. They think that they need to get more motivated, that they need willpower in order to execute on a habit. If I just felt like writing, if I just felt like meditating, if I felt like working out, then I would do it. But in fact, they don't have a plan for it, and so they wake up each day thinking, I wonder if I'll feel motivated to write today. I wonder if I'll feel.
Yeah, like today I wondered whether I would feel like recording. Just kidding, I love recording. But I did wake up this morning and wasn't 100% sure whether I wanted to go work out. But as he's gonna articulate, there's a very easy way for you to get yourself almost addicted to building new habits.
Motivated to work out today. But instead you can take the decision making out of it by explicitly stating when, where, and how you want to implement the habit. It sounds easy to say, let's just start a plan, let's write down exactly what you should do and then maybe you'll follow through on it. But of course we all know that there are challenges that arise, it's not quite that easy. So here's a little strategy that I like to use to make sure you can come up with a better plan of action, and it's called a failure pre-mortem. So the way that it works is you think about the habit, the project, the goal, whatever the most important thing is that you want to work on. And then I want you to imagine, fast forward 6 months from now and you failed, and then tell the story of why you failed. What happened?
This is a very smart thing to do. While oftentimes most people think about in their day-to-day, what can they do to make things happen? They do not think what can happen that will make me not do the thing that my goal is. A big part of knowing how you're going to succeed is also preemptively combating how you're going to fail.
Stage 2, wanting. One of the most overlooked drivers of habits and human behavior is our physical environment. And this is an interesting insight about our desires. Your environment often influences them. We want things simply because they are an option, right? Simply because they are in front of us at the time. Thankfully, you don't have to be the victim of your environment. You can also be the architect of it.
This is a very good point. He actually goes into this topic even more in his book Atomic Habits, where he talks about how the majority of, if not a large percentage of the veterans during the Vietnam War were heroin addicts. Based on the environment that they were in, they got addicted to heroin. And then when they went home, magically there wasn't a heroin epidemic when it came to the veterans that were in the United States. I wonder why that is. Pretty much boils down to the fact that the environment caused them to do it there, but in the United States, they went back to their family and they didn't have any reason to, keep doing heroin.
You can decide to design something to make your good behaviors easier and your bad behaviors harder. So, when it comes to habits, if you want to practice your guitar more frequently, put it right in the middle of your living room so you run across it all the time. If you want to read more, when you make your bed in the morning, take the book you want to read, put it on top of the pillow. When you come back that night, pick it up, read a few pages, go to sleep. Many of our desires are simply shaped because we have an environment that shapes us in that way. So the moral of the story is I've never seen someone stick to positive habits in a consistent fashion in a negative environment.
It takes a lot of willpower to do things that you don't want to do in an environment that's dragging you down. We've all been in that situation before. My freshman year of college, I despised the living situation I had, and it made me act a lot different. That's a fact.
Maybe you can overpower it once or twice. Maybe you can have the willpower to do the right thing on one day. But if you're constantly fighting against those forces, it's going to be very hard to follow through. Stage 3, doing. The important insight here, especially for habits, is that in the beginning, the most important thing is just to shut up and put your reps in. Just make sure that you hone the skill, right? And you can start to think of it, the way that I like to think of it is that any outcome that you wish to achieve is just a point along the spectrum of repetitions. So if you have few reps to more reps, and you can imagine an easy goal, a moderate goal, a hard goal, the more reps that you put in, the more likely you are to achieve that goal.
This is a great point. However, I would even go further with this and say one piece of pushback against that point is that he didn't fully articulate the fact that outcome-based goals are designed to fail. Input-based goals are designed to succeed. So if you say, I'm going to do X thing every single day, like I'm going to commit myself to recording one video every single day. In my case, since I have 365 videos a year that I have on my main YouTube channel and then a similar amount on my side YouTube channel, that would mean that you need to be focused on the fact that you are achieving it by doing the thing rather than the outcome of the thing. He did articulate it slightly in that whole point, but making a goal that is more input-based than outcome-based will allow you to be more successful in doing it. And then you will have these goals on the side that end up happening because you did the thing consistently.
Now, what I like to say is you should optimize for the starting line, not the finish line. Right? So often when we think about habits, goals, routines, achievements, it's all about the milestone. We think about how much weight we want to lose, how much money we want to earn, how many subscribers we want to have. It's all fixed on the finish line. But instead, if you can optimize for the starting line and make it as easy as possible to get started and get your reps in, often the outcomes just come as a natural result. Okay, stage 4, liking. The only reason that we repeat behaviors is because we enjoy them, because we like the reward.
This is so true. The number one indicator of productivity, bar none, is whether you enjoy doing the activity or not. Therefore, if you can increase the likelihood that you are going to like that thing, you're going to be much better off and you're going to end up going back to doing the thing over and over again. And you can see where these 4 steps that he mentioned come into play. It's like, you got to find the thing easily, put the guitar in the living room, put the book on your bed. You got to do the thing, get into the habit of doing the thing, and then you got to like doing the thing. So what can you do to optimize the environment that you're in to see it, to enjoy it while you're doing it, and then feel like you want to do it again the next time you see it?
If we don't enjoy the experience along the way, we're unlikely to stick with it. And that means that you need to figure out ways to bring a reward into the present moment because good habits have a problem. And that problem is that for good habits, the immediate consequence is there. There's a cost that happens in the moment, but the reward is often delayed. So you need to figure out how to bring the reward into the present moment to stick to a good habit. And someone else who's going to be speaking here, Seth Godin, had a very nice little quote about this, where he said, the best way to change long-term behavior is with short-term feedback.
This is so true because I'm recording like 55 videos in 4 days. I'm not gonna get any positive feedback from that. I'm gonna have to do other things in order to arbitrarily give myself positive feedback, like gamifying the checkboxes of doing it, getting hyped up by my friends or my editor that I recorded that many videos. These are the ways that you can get immediate feedback that makes you feel like a boss man. Well, in actuality, you spent that many hours in 4 days recording videos, which is hard work. I have to, I gotta talk to a microphone. This is the hardest thing on the planet.
We often fear that in order to achieve something new, to become someone new, we have to abandon everything that we are. But in fact, that's not how it works. Change can happen plank by plank, board by board, habit by habit. And gradually, you can become someone new. With consistency and repetition, you can actually change not only your results, but actually your identity.
This is very true. When I was in college, I was a full-time college athlete, right? I was a track and cross country runner. I ran the mile. Now what my goal is to get a little more bulked up, get like 15 pounds of muscle packed onto me, right? In the original space that I was prior to that, I played football. I had some muscle on me. I wasn't like one of the bigger guys, but I had the framework of doing the habit consistently of lifting weights, and then, I could have leveled that up. But instead, I completely 180, lost weight, ran 70, 80 miles a week for the next 8 years. And the next thing I knew, I wanted to do the opposite because I was done with my running career. You can really change who you are like this, and that consistent habit of running almost every day for that many years got me to run a mile in low 4 minutes and probably Shrek anybody who'd try to race me.
Because the more evidence that we have for a belief, the more likely we are to believe it. So if you go to church every Sunday for 20 years, you believe that you are religious. If you study Spanish every Thursday night for 20 minutes, you believe that you are studious. The actions that you take provide evidence for who you are. And it's not that habits matter more necessarily on an individual basis. Each moment in life matters, but what ends up happening is that over the broad span of time, things that you do once or twice fade away, and things that you do time after time, day after day, week after week, accumulate the bulk of the evidence for what you believe about yourself. And so every action that you take is actually a vote for the type of person that you want to become.
This is one of the best quotes from the book, and I fundamentally believe this is what makes the majority of habit formation work, is that you got to believe who you are. You got to believe you're the guy that posts every day on YouTube. You got to believe you're the person who goes to work every day and puts the extra hours in. You got to believe you're the person who goes to the gym every morning.
Yes, you can!
For my friend Chance's sake, he actually did something after we read the book. He told himself he was better than he thought, and he was a good rememberer of names. And now a year after reading the book, he's good at remembering names after he had previously told himself over and over he wasn't. That's a key hack that a lot of people should take from this book. James Clear's awesome. This book's awesome. I hope you guys enjoy this video. And if you want more, please make sure to subscribe. And you want more like this, check out this one right here.